Welcome everybody, this is Evelyn. I have two reads for you today. I have my message of the day with the Metatron deck, the Nature's Whispers deck, and the Shaman Dreams. And my 7 deck read is on the table. We'll do that second. And we're going to roll the die as well. Let's go ahead and take a few deep breaths first. Take a deep breath. And another deep breath. And one more deep breath. Sending lots of love and blessings. I hope you guys are all doing great, and thank you so much for joining me today. If you guys do like the video, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I do so appreciate it. And let's get going with the read. We're going to roll the die first. Today is Lionsgate 8/8/2022 for the Twin Flames. August 8th, 2022. What are the energies for today? August 8th, 2022. All right, we have the number 6 of the Lovers, which is also Gemini energy. It's also love, family, and community. We also have Jupiter here that looks like a 4, but Jupiter's Sagittarius and expansion, benevolence. And then here we have Aquarius as well with the water symbol. Water, water, water. Yeah, so Gemini is mutable, Sagittarius is mutable, Aquarius is fixed. So a lot of changes going on today in the age of Aquarius. Expansion of the Lovers, of family, community, groups with Aquarius as well. And today is the 8th, and the day adds up to 22. And actually, I think the 7 deck read was actually done at 8/22 last night, and today is 8/8/22. And the day adds up to 22. So a lot about the 8 and the 22 today. 16, 17, yep, 22. All about the 22. So let's get going with this first read. The message of the day with the 3 decks, as always. So we have Metatron. Sorry if you see any blanket little particles on my phone. I notice that sometimes. But we have the Metatron deck at the top here, all the underlying energies over here for the 3 decks. Here's the Nature's Whispers deck, and then the Shaman Dreams down here. And at the end, I always get a pile to count. Not always, but usually. I'll get a pile of cards to count for numerology, okay? So just a little bit closer too, so you can see the cards a little bit more closely. Okay, so Metatron, Nature's Whispers, and Shaman Dreams. All right, so this was done 10:19 to 10:22 this morning. The 10:19 is the Wheel and the Sun, and then the 22 is the Fool's Journey, with an open heart taking a leap of faith. And the 3 numbers that came up from the piles were 47, 2, and 19, which is the 7 of Cups, the High Priestess, and the Sun. Heaven in their eyes for the High Priestess and the Sun, which is also Leo energy today. The 19 is Leo as well. Here we are in Leo at Lionsgate. And seeing synchronicities, you know, heaven in your eyes, having lots of options, variety. And the underlying energy was about the Tree of Life, and 32, which is the journey, the 7 of the Chariot and amplifying positive emotions, and 21 of the World, which is first breath. So again, that completion point, and then starting fresh again as the new baby. The path of the Chariot to completion, to a whole new world. From orange to gold, remember this, the orange is the sacral chakra, to the golden gate basically, to the other side, right, to expand your consciousness. The orange is also the orangutan, which is the forest man or the veggie man, and clearing that energy of the old, again going for the gold, which is the G and the old. which is God, the Ancient One. Metatron's cube was coming up as Metatron's cubit. To square it, right angle it, to shift and diamond it. Diamond is the two almond eyes that see in two different worlds, the double diamond legacy to the nth degree. Pump it up. Amplify your positive emotions as the little fairy girl makes ripples in the water, while the ancient ones stand guard as pillars. The little one, your legacy, with fire igniting Cancer and Pisces, the chariot and the world, to listen closely to what the planets have to say and hear them. See things always as if it were the very first time. The beginner's mind, fresh, a fresh breath, the baby's breath, so sweet and innocent. In no sense, it just is. Pure light. So again, that very high vibration of the new babies and the new mothers is coming in here as well. They just clear very easily because they're such high vibration. The road to perdition is a choice to torture oneself or not. The journey on the path less traveled is with the innocent ones, the 46, the soul children, the little angel girl, and her unicorn, the horn that is a perpetual mouthpiece, proudly displayed without saying a word, that telepathic connection that we have with our babies and our pets, the rainbow around the sun and the moon. At 10:35, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the Wounded Warrior, the Nine of Wands. Always gratitude and appreciation of soulmates, friends of the soul, where the Queen of Cups 38, or that Mary Magdalene energy, is in acceptance of love as the vines to the tree, the vines longing to be wrapped around the tree. Only one tree amidst all the others lined up on either side to witness thee, all lined up to see how it's done. The 17 of the dreams coming true, as the fairy dust is sprinkled across the land, and maybe that's the Saharan desert dust coming up. As fairy dust is sprinkled across the land in infinite blessings, from the fall to the winter wonderland, as the 37 King of Cups with ideal course of action. In the spring, which is just referencing the seasons and the springboard of action, at 10:42, the Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Cups, where she is the fall and he is the spring. She is the preparations for the grand finale, which needs to cook a little while under a blanket of snow, like fermentation, like the Moroccan olive trees and the blue apples, to make it extra potent, extra powerful, where in the spring it becomes the rose. The fall is the preparation, the retrograde, the pedaling backwards in order to gain momentum, the loop, with the need to resonate during the winter to become stronger so that you can take off in a new direction instead of looping. Breaking the old pattern. There is no baby without a pregnancy, you see. You must go within and let things meld for a bit to become more flavorful, to bring the juices to their full potential. At 10:47, the Wheel of Fortune and the Seven of Cups. Again, seeing synchronicities in heaven in your eyes and presenting that right timing then, the springboard to take flight, to get lift, to take off. The longer the pregnancy, the more healthy. But sometimes the right timing is a little earlier than expected, to catch you off guard and get you out of your head into your heart, perhaps to witness firsthand how strong the human spirit is. The tiniest of babies leading the way, leaving mom early in order to save her, or to get their hard work done early and to catch the worm, so to speak, or to teach mom and dad how to heal by getting out of their ego and their heads to focus on caring for them. That little chariot to amp up your positive emotions, ending pain for bliss of a little offshoot of you, given time and space to grow before coming together. At 10:54, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the Page of Swords. At 11:11 was the Feast of Plenty, the two as one, where there's 2 swords and 1 stone, 2 words and 1 tone, was coming into woes and toes. So feet and the pressure points were coming up very important today. So you might want to massage your feet, right, if you're feeling a little blue. And then at the wake-up call here, to be conscious about your choices, right? So we all do this to ourselves, where we eat things and then we feel bad afterwards. But again, to be conscious every day and every moment to the choices that you're making. And if you choose that, that's fine. It's just to be conscious of this and be aware of it and witness it. The 35 of the wounded warrior and the lost compass are losing their way and getting back to their integrity. The wounded warrior at the 11th hour wake-up call, you know, the one waiting to the last minute? Well, maybe that's the masculine's thing. And then LC was coming up, which was coming up for something personal for me. Whatever it comes up for you, that's good. But the L is also the right angle, and the C is the whispering bench. On the fool's journey in child's pose, shifting paths from the locomotive to flight patterns, from tunneling and boring to falling and rising and taking flight, from the wounded warrior to the fool with an open heart, with every breath. And this, I was getting this from 2 babies. One baby was telling another baby who was mad at them for making them do this on their own, and the boy baby was saying, with every breath you take, every move you make, I'll be watching you. Oh, can't you see? You belong to me. My poor heart aches every breath you take. Being whole and complete in the sound of silence and knowing that they are there. The 22 of the falling back to the 21 to feel whole again and take off. The journey of the soul into the avatar, the human body, and taking your first breath, while still connected to it all at 11:53, the alignment with the Knight of Swords and the Messenger of Truth. The 11:54 of, it was really funny at that time, because I usually stretch and lunge, which I tell you guys to do as well. But the dog reminded me, came over to me, and he looked right at me, and he stretched and lunged and reminded me to do that again. So remember every day to release those stuck energies. The ancestors coming up here with the 34 and the energetic exchange of the ancestors, showing their appreciation and healing of the journey and Mother Earth. So it was like showing me the connection of the arcing from outside of the Earth to not only the Earth, but the Earth's atmosphere as a separate entity, and Metatron's cube of the ancestral line or arc fusing Earth and its atmosphere, where Atmo is the standard atmosphere pressure used in certain physical measurements and calculations. The pressure of the barometer at 760 millimeters at temperature of 0 degrees centigrade at sea level and at the latitude of Paris. The arcs are a wake-up call here, the clarion call, the clear call, which is also referencing your clair abilities, to call and align, to listen and hear. When Jupiter aligns with Mars, so there's the Aquarius reference again, you know, when the moon is in the 7th house, which it can mean many different things. So for me, it always comes up as Cancer, because when the moon is in the 7th house, it's the Chariot and Cancer. Even though it's not, you know, technically the 7th house. But it's coming up that way, right? Because that's the home of the house of family, home and family. When Jupiter aligns with Mars, was coming up today. And so I looked to see what was going on with the aspecting. And today, the moon's actually in Sagittarius, 28 degrees, which is the twin flames, and then 23, which is the King of Wands, which has been coming up all week, as the mastering of your passions. The next moon in Cancer was August 22nd, which today is it's August 22, but also the 8 and 22, I said, came up 3 times today. So August 22nd is coming up very significant when the next moon is in Cancer, and that's at 29 minutes UTC, so right after midnight UTC, and then 8:24, 1309 UTC. So the last time that Jupiter and Mars were conjunct was in May this year on the 28th. Again, the 28 of the twin flames, 22. Mars opposes Jupiter today, where Mars is in Leo and moving to Virgo today in the afternoon. So we're already in Virgo. And the need for conscious sensitivity. And this is coming up astrotimes.net. But the need for conscious sensitivity. That the aspect can be obnoxious, but can also give courage to push through a barrier, more awareness. But once it goes into Virgo, it will calm things down, but then it will also dampen that motivation that the fire gives it. But there's taking a bold step here, calling the family tree perhaps, the 53 of the Knight of Swords and the Messenger of Truth, and the codependency being the key to the freedom. The time out to reflect with the 2 of the High Priestess and the Divine Feminine with water, water, water. The 7 of the Chariot of emotional well-being. With Pisces and Cancer, the water babies. Pisces with Divine Feminine near the water, like to be near the water. It's coming up here specifically. And Cancer today, needing to be in the water. The icosahedron coming up, where icosa means I matter. The water for emotional well-being, because you are matter, and the water needs matter, and the matter needs the water, like earth and water. The 20 faces of 2 supported by Source. The High Priestess Divine Feminine supported by Source, which is the 20, the 0 backing up the 2. Using meditation, sunlight, water to make crystal light, which is you. Metatron's cube of 13 circles, and the Merkaba inside 6 circles, and 1 circle around all. The Merkaba expanding the flower of life, and the 5 platonic solids, which are all the geometric patterns in life. That the blue Madonna holds, the blue apple, which is the French reference, right, to the olives, and the growing of the olive tree in Morocco, which I always get reference to the Garden of Eden, that the blue Madonna holds, and now I'm getting that the black Madonna is the blue Madonna, because it's the dark Madonna, that the blue Madonna holds, the blue apple, present at origins, the gifts she holds, the magnetic stepping forward, aligned with Sirius alignment today, the mother calling all of her children home, to clear communication and connection, the 47 of the 47 cards that were in the pile, the first pile, which again is the synchronicities and having choices and variety, but also can cause confusion if it's too much for you and you're not grounded. Again, synchronicities and heaven in your eyes. And the bottom of it all here was the red card, the root chakra, the 55 of the shaman's truth. And at the top of it all was the kundalini and the wounded warrior. At the top of it all, releasing that kundalini. From the root shaman to the release of the wounded warrior through the kundalini awakening on the 8th, the dance to lead the way with their flame in their right hand, their ring and keys in the left, which is at the right angle, answering the mother's magnetic call to shower in diamond light for clarity on the shadow, what's not seen, with self-love as above so below, reflecting compassion of the weeping willow. The 12 of the hanging man in Akashic review for wisdom to dream and conquer your fears, with the 7, which is an 8 also, reflecting today's date, of the dream, and the double diamond of the twin flame untying the knots in the grid, the collective awakening, the flowering of creation, as the electric waves beat against the magnetic mountain to light them up. And again, I was getting, she's a brick house, right, at 1232, the hanging man and the journey. Oh, by the way, with the Sagittarius moon today, the Sagittarius rules the liver, which came up this week already, with hips, thighs, and sacrum. And that was from Moon Calendar, astro-seek.com. I always feel, for me, my chart, I don't have a ton of fire in my chart, but I always feel best when the charts are in fire, like Leo and Sagittarius. Not as much Aries for me, but Leo and Sagittarius always feel really good for me because I have a Leo Venus. So at 1232, which is the hanging man and the 32 of the journey, the transformation of light and dark, with the Knight of Cups of the Emerald Order, being love, taking action as the hermit, making sense of it all, the Chariots of Fire and the number 9 of endings into the one of new beginnings, which is also coming up here as the yellow solar energy of the solar plexus of joy and happiness and confidence. To just be in the yellow, buttercup, by the way, and go with the flow with 42, the 2 of cups, with the 38 of the Queen of Cups, the light body powered up of the JC and Mary Magdalene, the 52 of the Big Bird and the Chariots of Fire, and the Atlas inner child building blocks for life, to hear and know your inner child. Family at sunrise for all your wishes, and 37 of the King of Cups, telling him to detach and look up, see the birds, the signs and synchronicities from Spirit with love, and the Queen of Wands with the orange energy to stretch and lunge to release their energy up as well, for the King of Cups to look up and the Queen of Wands to stretch and lunge to release your energy up. The 47 again of the 7 of Cups for Thanksgiving every day, as the cosmos reflects you in a wake-up call to the Divine Feminine High Priestess and Source backing them up in the Dodeca, the 2 plus 10, from Aqua Rose Gold Mother's Heart to the message in the bottle that you are. You are her mouthpiece, so pop your cork. At 43, the 3 of Cups, to pause for healing with another. After the clear connection, send healing, a jump start. The arc of Metatron and the wing beneath your wings, which is the breath into your lungs to support your wings. The 27, again, of Metatron and the Ace of Wands, your flame, and that inspiration, the new inspiration of fire of the 19 of the Sun and Leo, and the dragon's breath of the ethers, waiting on the other end. Again, those deep breaths brings your energy to ether. The Knight of Wands with passion for life to power up the heart. The 21 of the Indigo, whole and complete, connecting with Sirius, star, her other, and the Sword and the Stone, the word and the tone, the 2 minds and 1 heart. Of the 46 of the loving inner children, the loving outer children, the authentic self, the upside down tier equals the key portal to the 23 of the King of Wands, rather. I don't know why I write the King of Pentacles. Maybe the King of Pentacles as well, right? Because that could be the same person. It's the upside down tier is the key portal to the 23 King of Wands duality when balance is needed. So Divine Feminine takes some of his fire away and be more Divine Masculine when he's too out of control in that aspect. The 13 of transition, when she is too emotional, then he must soften in return in order to pull her back into her masculine again. The air of the 13 and transitioning to breathe and fly free, and the 48 of walking away and within to the void for rest and pause, which is the feminine. The 54 of the Page of Swords message of Mercury coming in from the castle on a cloud, and the 10 of that high vibe new dawn, which is referencing again the 10 years since it's been 2012 to 2022, with 2 at the helm. The 51 of the King of Swords, 2 purity and innocence and their diamond light, to the 33 of the Christ vibration of unity consciousness and the dimensional gateway, an open invitation to come in. 2 pillars with 2 wings and 2 flames, letting go in the falling, to release at sunset each day with compassion. The 40 of the Page of Cups, and that innocent pure love of evolution to vulnerability and birthing the new. The 16 of the Tower and the gold, and sudden love and replenishment. The heart of gold, to infinitum powering up. The 22 of the Fool's Journey with that open heart, which is Archangel Sandalphon here, or Saint Dolphin, who's with you now on the Fool's Journey, strumming your pain with his fingers and singing your life with his words. The 26 of the Page of Wands at 108, which is the Magician and the Strength card of the dance on Lionsgate. The pink life bulb womb of the Page of Wands is turned on by phased rays of the sun, and she reflects them back. The 55 of the Shaman's root, the truth of the Ace of Swords and the Shaman's root of all evil is fear, of course, and how. The open hand is your healing hand. You're offering your vulnerability to the other, offering your healing to them, exposing your healing power to them like namaste. From the root to tip, what a long, strange trip it's been. Love, Mother. So then at 111 is the Magician and the 11 of alignment, truth and balance, where the little fairy girl is making ripples and then touches down at the tree for a pause to ground perhaps with the Emperor as she lights him up with her 7 wishes, not realizing her crown is so much more, covered in wishes, and she all aglow with the 44 of seeking beauty in everything, including yourself. From 7 to 4 and 4 to 7, you know me, for me that's my sweet spot of numerology, right? You want to stay in the middle, balanced. And then the 2 cards 44 and 8 came up, which is the way 44 is written, 44/8, and today is the 8th. Going from the 44 of the 3D lap dance to the 8 of the upright do-si-do at the sweet spot. But remember when you the range is 4 to 7. But if you get stuck in 2 4s, you know, that's a little bit low because you're below the 5. You don't want to really be below the 5. It's just kind of a range so that you can fall below the 5 a little bit. That's not a problem. But the 4/4 may be a little bit low, and it's a range. So if it's too much below 5, you need to strive for the 8 to pull up again. So again, it's about the opposites. When you go to one polarity, just pull your, look at the other polarity in order to pull you back to center. Remember, with the 7 candles here, you need 1 for good luck, in a breakthrough of the open heart to all that is, making a splash wide open into the waves, unafraid. The 14 of the Temperance card in that higher love of balance and patience, with assurance of a higher love. The dance of the nutcrackers coming up here, sweet, as the nuts don't fall far from the tree. Through all 4 seasons and Vivaldi, in the perfect setting here at the bottom of it all, and at the top the renewal of peace, of mother and child, the baby in the nook of the tree in transition sleeping peacefully, as the mother paints the perfect setting of the sun popping through, the transition of the hermit, and Viva, so this was coming up as, Vivaldi was coming up as Viva, all 2. So as opposed to all for 1, it's coming up as all for 2 and 2 for all. And there's that 22 again, and the 11/11. The 1 of the horsemen heralding in the changes of the 30 of the union, the Knight of Wands, into union homecoming at dawn, removing the crown of the 8 and right use of power in the union dance, the knight to king, taking them down, then to rook, to turn them around, their frown upside down, as the knight head off with their head, removing their mask to find, it's like taking the the head of the beast off, and like the Queen of Cups in Alice in Wonderland, off with their heads, but it's cutting off the head of the crown to find that there was nothing inside, removing their mask to find there's no soul, it's empty. The 57 of the 3 of Swords in the unmarked trail of separation under extreme pressure in the maze of green, amazing grace seen at 140 of the Magician and the Page of Cups, on the trail or the T-rail, the time out rail, the 5 of the freedom and change of closing the door, but this time completely so they can't get back in even if they want to. At 142, the Magician and the 2 of Cups is the 25 of the Knight of Wands in the Garden of Venus for rest and renewal, the 36 of Atlas lost in space, for once needing direction with time on their hands, because they're always so busy usually. Before they never had to decide what to do or where to go, and now they're just spaced out, not knowing what to do. The beloved of the 2, with their heart on fire, all ablaze with radical acceptance for the constant drilling they've been under and over, the twin flames hollow bone, leaving space for room to grow, the moose with horn, or is this an elephant adorned, bull winking with feathers in their hair, wasting away to nothingness, going within, and deep diving into a task on the high vibe destiny of life and death in a human body, an avatar or avatar you get to play in, Twin flames in high vibe destiny, deep diving for pearls of wisdom, letting the old pass away and closing the door to rise and rise again. The journey of the chariot is now complete, and the deep blue sea ready to rise into a whole new world. At 151, again, the Magician and the King of Swords. So at 153, the 53 being the Knight of Swords, the 19 of there were 19 cards in this pile, which is the Sun, and at the bottom of it all was the 54 of the Page of Swords, and the crossing to the top of it all, which is the 16 of the Tower, and the empty well here that's ready to fill up. A sudden need to replenish, the 62 of the 8 of Swords, and the Will-o'-the-Wisp, where wisp equals soul and wag or wave, a small bundle, which is also the definition of the rod, as in the rod and staff. The willow, the soul, the wave and rod, suddenly released from their imprisonment. The 39 of the Knight of Cups in their metox for shaman. It's like a shaman taking a me day. While the Hermit is green, the green moth, dancing on one foot, with toe tapping on their wall, daring to knock on their door while they're in the bathroom soaking in the tub. The 56 of the 2 of Swords in your knowing that the Hermit is there, and sunshine falling asleep, with the 58 and the 4 of Swords in the 5D connection, the particle colliding, smashing into each other over and over again, in ego sublimation as the mirror now shatters on the journey of the jeweled web to connect with the 61 of taking a risk, the whale's song in the deep blue sea, the portal resonating to align with the man in the deep quiet who's now meditating and in stillness. I'm getting instilling at 204, and that's the match that came up from the numerology book again the other day, the 2 of the High Priestess and the 4 of the Emperor. The heart home with compassion and inspiration, and the 60 of the 6 of Swords of peace, and watchers, 1-to-1, the piggyback of 2 desert lovers with a passion for peace. And the totem here really looks like 2 lions. And here we are at Lion's Gate, right? 8-8, the 2 gates. The 2 gates and the 2 suns. So here we have 2 lions, one piggyback on the other one. And the lions, remember, is the L and ions. It is the right angle connection. 2 desert lovers with a passion for peace. 2 lions coming together in the overflow of overwhelming plenty. Desert Storm. So then Desert Storm came up, so we're dealing with Iraq, but then also Sihanouk Creek came up, which is in Cambodia. So why is Desert Storm in Cambodia coming up? Because Desert Storm had to do with the liberation of Kuwait in 1991 and the Pact Act. So I looked up to see what was going on with those different things in the news. And the Pact Act is the Korean and Desert Storm war memorials, and that was from the Pantograph. And then several storm warnings with hail were coming up for Phoenix, Arizona, 40 to 60 mile per hour winds to hit many Phoenix area cities. And that was coming up from the 32 Central. And then from Fox 35 Orlando, the Saharan dust continues to hamper the hurricane, the tropical storm development in the Atlantic as August begins. And then Cambodian news was tit for tat, the fallout from the U.S.'s approach to politics and policy in Cambodia. And that was coming up from the Diplomat. Censoring Phnom Penh over its human trafficking record. So, censoring them or blocking them from certain benefits because of their human trafficking record, which is good. At 225, the High Priestess and the Knight of Wands. And then the Taj Mahal coming up regarding Independence Day 2022. where all monuments except the Taj Mahal were to light up in tricolor on August 15th this year. There's for the 75-year India independence, but the Taj Mahal can't be lit up because the Supreme Court made a directive saying no lighting can be done on the monument at night. The last time it was lit up was March 20th, 97, at a Yanni concert, and the next morning it was full of dead insects endangering the marble monument. So from the desert to the tropics, right, from the no water to the overabundance of water, and the 52 of the Queen of Swords straddling both worlds, as the divine masculine discovers his heart home, aligning with flame for abundant mushroom, to watch the show together, the benefactors of grace and generosity, and the GG of the Golden Gate coming up there, God's grace, to cuddling in the mushroom as the rude girl, the little girl, so the children now, the 46, struggling now to come out with their dark night and go through it, or coming through the other end of it, but still needing to heal. The 44 of the perfect storm of the raven peacock on the eagle's 3D perch, to receive love with courage to step into life in the 3D world. The 48 of the 8 of cups, walking away when needed as the sky dancers. Remember, sky is Sophia's KY, the energy of 0 point. The cooling off of Beetlejuice as Bella with tricks up her sleeve. With the 54 page of swords, message of portal crossing on the half-tree trunk bridge, literally like laying his coat down for Milady, laying his life down on the line to bring her across to his digs. And that was at 2:34. Shut the door. So the other deck also ended on closing the door. So that was very much the message here. 1, 2, 3, 4, shut the door. So the 2 wounded warriors from inside the tree and inside the barrel or well in tree splitting to extend themselves to the other side of the tracks, extending a lifeline from mountain to mountain, from tree to well, where the tree breaks the spell by filling in the well to become, literally the way it came up was tree with well, tree to well, because tree is with and well is without, filling it in, becoming one without. The tree fills the hole, and you know the rest, at 2:38 to 39, which is the 2 of the Queen of Cups and the Knight of Cups. And that was your read. All right, and the other energy of reminding you guys to clear and put some kind of, energetic protection around you, especially when you feel a lot of harsh energies coming in. And there's a lot of attention to this day because it's very known as Lionsgate now. And the movie 28 Days came up last night, and there's the 28 again of the twin flames. And 28 days is the month, right? The 13-month calendar, so to speak, also. So that's also coming up. So here is the 7-deck read. And here is the main read from the SIRIAN Starseed deck on this day, connecting with Sirius. Sorry about the light. I don't know why it's... Maybe I just turn... Yeah, that's better. So here is the basic read from the SIRIAN Starseed deck as we connect to Sirius today and the Sun. And then here is the whole 7-deck read on the table, so I can see it from the top down. Okay, so this was cut and dealt at 8:22, like I told you already. The 8 of Lionsgate and the 22 of the Fool's Journey. And then at 8:35, VE came up, and V is creation, and capital E is that one being equal and congruent to the other in creation. So it's like co-creation, but without the co. It's just the single person creating, but being equal about it, or being open to something else. The 8 of the wounded and the wounded warrior there is with the Fool's Journey, right? Because the first time was 22 and the second time is 35. So the deal is about the fool's journey with an open heart, taking that leap of faith on Lionsgate. But what came up in some of the read, the old, is that wounded warrior of creating alone, and then the 36 of the Atlas energy of with the weight of the world and leaving the wounded warrior behind. But what literally came up at 836 was JR of flames, right? So the drama king there. And also AMES came up with aims or MEs, so friendships could be coming up as well. Maybe you have to deal with a JR of flames or a fire sign who's like JR. And then Omestic Harmony came in, however you take that. It can be an Om reference, Eastern Standard Time of the inner child. And then harmony can be many things too, whether you're focused on the money, as JR comes up, or harmony literally means harmony. It's still, without the H, it still means harmony. I finished clarifying at 850, which is the 8 of the dance and strength and manifestation of dreams, and the 50 of emotional fulfillment and family happiness or happy endings. The major arcana for this read were guidance instead of guidance. Guardianship is coming up. But guidance is coming up, which is the Hierophant, the Hanging Man, the Star, and the Higher Self, which is the High Priestess. And before the read, Ascension, which is the World, the Tower, and Strength all came up. And the Lovers came up after the read. There were 2 cups, 4 wands, and 1 sword. There were no pentacles in the main cards. And the court cards here were the Page of Wands, the Knight of Wands, and the King of Cups as the main players in the read. Before the read, only the 9 of Pentacles came up as the Sovereign, and after the read, the Page of Pentacles came up. And they could be siblings, actually, the Page and the 9 of Pentacles. The numbers came up 22, 33, 55. So again, the 22 of the Fool's Journey, the 33 of the Christ vibration, the Unity Consciousness, and the 55 of the Truth and Excalibur. And the Shaman energy comes up with that as well. 34 comes up of the 8 of Wands and the Energetic Exchange, the Arrows of Love, the 10 of that High Vibration, and then also the 23 of the King of Wands, the 34 of the Energetic Exchange again, the 45 of the 5 of Cups of the Purge, the 9-10 begin again and again and again, right? So it's like the fall and rise, rise again and again. And then in a lesser sense, the 59 is coming up as the inner war and the 11th hour of that, right? The 59 before the 60. The code line was all about domestic harmony, and it was coming up as D separated from the omestic and H separated from the harmony. And DH comes up as that is to say, right? That is to say, and here's what came up from the messages there. The code line was all about the number 10 and that high vibration and destiny regarding domestic harmony. So the key, perhaps show of power, in destined high vibe DNA, after death test of God, and the Page of Wands, coming up with as the salty apple or the 5-membered ring. That is to say, like getting in the way or there to prevent harmony. The title, someone with the title to their sperm or their semen, perhaps hermetically closed, delicate, exquisite, smooth, and sensitive. Maybe someone's selling their sperm too. Courteous, the Knight of God, the Seeker of Flames, perhaps excited for the mass exodus, another way of saying interference in harmony. The key here being the 10 of the decade from 12 to 22, the DNA of the high knight, right? So again, that could, sell their sperm on the open market and get a really high price. So the high leveled knight, and G7 was coming up. And 7 is the Chariot. But the Page of Wands energy of being excited or inspired for the salty blue apple miss. So the Christmas of the blue apple, which is coming up as the Mary Magdalene energy and the mother, the Black Madonna kind of energy, which is coming up as the blue Madonna, which is just the deep indigo. The Mary Magdalene baptism of where the salt and fresh waters meet. And 12/21/2022, at the end of this year, which actually equals 39 when you add it up, which is the Knight of Cups, being love, very much the Jesus energy. The harmony that interrupts, the contrast. So it's saying the harmony is what is the interruption, because because you're enjoying the contrast of expansion, and the harmony brings it back to, you know,